Hello and welcome to this edition of Take the Fear Out the Gear with me, Mr. Chumley Warner.
And me, Jason Bangers, and today we're going to talk about bass guitars. What we're going to tell you about today, guys, we're going to talk about guitars, bass guitars specifically, and high-end sort of guitars, but not the highest end, but really expensive.
More affordable ones, really.
Yeah, the more affordable high-end. And I think we've got 4 to show you, maybe, I don't know, but what we're going to do is we're going to show you what guitars we think you should buy for the money that's out there available. Just like Blue Peter, I happen to have one here ready for you. This is quite a favourite of mine. You can pick these up quite cheap. Lovely Warwick, look at that, see? And this is a Warwick Streamer, as you probably all know. It's quite light, it's quite small, and you've got that nice, I don't know what you call that, convex, does it? I think that's quite a thing with Warwicks, they all do it. And when you've got a gut as big as mine, it sits nicely, just sits nicely right around the gut piece, you know what I'm saying, Si?
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, it does sit well, yeah.
Anyway, what I like about this is it's really nice for just gentle finger picking. You can't hear it because it ain't plugged in. And it's great for slapping as well. The reason I say that is because between there and there you've got a massive great gap, which is really nice for flicking a jab if you want to flick the old G string up, you know, like that sort of thing. Just look, see what I'm saying?
It's all to do with the gap, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all about that. And the EQ, you've got tons of EQ on here. It's active and it's passive, so with a lot of active guitars you don't get the option to switch it in or out. I think they're really well made. It sounds amazing every time. So
what sort of price was that one? You know, if you
right, they're about £1,000 second hand, but you can find them if you're lucky, very very lucky, for around about a monkey, which is 500 quid.
It plays really nice.
Very little money, yeah. So
nice fretboard.
Yeah, it's a lovely bass. Everyone who's played it loves it. I think it's a gorgeous bass. I would highly recommend the Warwick Streamer. I.e., if you want a Warwick and you're thinking about buying a thumb, you're going to look a hell of a lot more money. But I don't know if you're going to get much more guitar for your money, to be honest. So anyway, there's bass guitar number 1, ladies and gentlemen. It's a Warwick Streamer. I would highly recommend. If you can get one, get one. And of course, another thing to mention, which I didn't do, what I like about the Warwicks, is the position of the tuning peg, Si. So you might think, well, what's the difference between that and a dead vertical one? They're just pointing towards you, like they're easy to grab.
Yeah.
And that's a small detail, but it's well worth pointing out, I think. That is a great little touch with the Warwick, something you don't get on most guitars. So, Simon, bass guitar number 2. What could it be?
I don't know.
What could it be?
Let's magic one in, shall we?
Side tubers, bass guitar number 2, which brings us on to something you can barely see in shop, but you'll see it in a minute, Simon. What have we got?
Shall we just hold it up a little minute?
Oh, yes.
Look at that, that's the one, that's the Man Stingray. And if you look at the finish, it's got like a clear lacquer and you can see the grain underneath. Fantastic.
There's a great demo on the back, actually.
Oh, you can see this one's been used a little bit, look.
Yeah. Yes, you can see the woodwork on there. That is as smooth as silk, I tell you. Look, you can see our screen in that. Look at that. Look, you can see us on TV. Look. Hi, Mum.
Well, this one's really simple because it's got a single humbucker there, and then on the controls you got bass, middle, treble, and your volume. So it's just perfect. It's really easy to use.
See, tell people why that is so good.
Well, you get these guitars. Say if this was some guitars, if you had another pickup there, you'd have like volume, then volume between each pickup, and you might have bass, treble, middle. It just gets really confusing. But this is just so simple.
They're hard to set up. They're really, really hard to set up, and they were too much choice. It's like keyboard players when they got 50,000 sounds, and for them, if you're rehearsing with a keyboard player, no disrespect, keyboard players out there, Adrian, but when you're playing with keyboard players. Philip Aldridge, how you doing? Neil Ramsey, how you doing? They got an awful lot of sounds to choose from, and they could be there for an hour trying to pick the right sound. Well, that's what it's like when you've got too much choice on a bass guitar.
More is less. Or less is more.
Less is definitely more.
Yeah.
Setting, for me, the way I like it, everyone's different. I go bass, flat out, treble, flat out, middle, in the middle.
Presume this one is active, isn't it? Got a battery in this one?
Yeah, it's active and you can't switch it off. It's just active, which is great, because why do you want the choice of having it active or passive when active is all you want?
So how much would you pay for one of these nowadays, or even like a new version of this?
Well, brand new, this 26 years ago was 900 quid, and I only got it that cheap because my mate was Kev, Mr. Butcher. Kev was working in the guitar shop in Ipswich, and we got it for price, basically for cost.
Yeah, I think they're about 1,500 to £2,000, aren't they?
Yeah.
In the shops now, depending on which one you're looking at. Yeah.
Because this is original American, made in California. Yeah, I'll be able to zoom in there and show you that. You'll probably see the serial number as well, but I don't care. So that is probably the most popular bass guitar that was used in the 1980s, apart from synthesizers. In my opinion, the most versatile. Well, no, that's actually not fair to say, because the Stingray pretty much, it's got one sound, and it's a great sound, but it's the only sound it's got. You might say, don't be daft, you've got treble, middle and bass on there. Well, you have, but it still sounds the same, just different. It's like hitting a loudness button on a stereo. One sound is all you need, and that's a good one. Let's move on to bass guitar number 3.
This is the Man Bongo.
Bongo.
Come on, Jay, tell us about this one.
We got someone sitting next to us here.
Blimey,
Hi guys.
It's Shag, everybody.
Hey.
Shag's on the show. How you doing, bruv? You all right, mate? It's good to see you, me old mucker. Eh?
You all right,
It's good to
dude?
see
How's it
you.
going,
Yeah,
man?
man. Hell yeah.
Look at that. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? That is, I think, the most sexy looking bass. It's so futuristic looking. I think, you know, if Prince could have designed a bass, it would have looked like this, wouldn't it? Because it's just like Prince's stuff. Now, this is a genuine made in California Music Man, but it's not a Stingray, it's a Bongo. I can tell you how much this was brand new. It was 1,100 quid brand new 15 years ago, maybe, something like that.
Yeah.
Shag bought it. Now, dude, was that or was that not the best purchase you ever made in your life, do you think?
Certainly was.
Because
I learnt to play on this, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. I mean, you had a cheap guitar before that, and you ummed and ahed, but you thought, this is just for all the people out there that are wondering whether or not to spend quite a lot of money on a guitar, because Shag did invest a lot of money on this guitar, but you spent out on this thing, dude, and how good you feel about it years after owning it now, even to this day. Is the novelty worn off?
Oh, no, definitely not. It's just great. Absolutely
It's
great
nothing
guitar
like
to play.
It's nothing like owning
Brilliant.
a quality instrument,
Well,
is it?
I've played this at the jam night, and it's
Everybody
the
loves
sound,
it.
Yeah, the sound's amazing. It's got amazing bottom end on it. That's what the
It
most
has
thing I've
got-
noticed.
Now, you might... Sorry, D, go on, yeah.
2 massive humbuckers.
Right, I was just going to say that. You might notice with the Stingray, there was just one humbucker. On this puppy, you got 2 of them, and that equals 2 9-volt batteries in the back of it. 2 of them.
Yeah.
It's a beast. And you've also got shelved EQ. I could be a bit ignorant when it comes to EQ and the way they name them. You can't quite see there, but there's a pot there, and then there's a pot at the bottom. I call that shelved. I think it is. I'm not sure. It usually just means a break from one to t'other. But anyway, so you've got your bass, and then you've got more bass, and then you've got tons more bass, and you've got your middle and your treble, and then you've got your 2 pickup volumes here. It's a beast, honestly. And to play it, it's beautiful. There's only one problem I had with it, was if you look here, as I was explaining earlier, there's a small gap there, which makes it quite hard to ping up when you're spanking it. But this isn't really a guitar you want to spank. It's a nice finger picking guitar. Now, you love this guitar, Shag, didn't you? It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, definitely.
So I was just so glad that Shag got it.
Yeah.
So
kept it in the family.
It's in the family, and that is, you got to admit, I'm going to quote my old mate Spud, that's John Sperling. When I bought this originally, I said, "Here, Spud, look, what do you think of this?" And he said, "That is the most musical toilet seat I've ever seen." I think he was trying to say he thought it looked like shit. Some call them the Marmite bass. You love them or you hate them. Personally, I absolutely love it. What's the verdict? Do you
I think it's awesome.
I know you do.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's a great guitar. And if one of these comes up and you've got the money, just buy it, because they're getting quite rare now, and they are beautiful. It's so nice and easy. The thing plays itself practically. It's beautiful to play. What's it like being on the show, mate? You like being on the show, mate?
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. Watching and what you guys do is amazing.
Shag's our #1 fan, not. He said our last video was shit. And I have to agree with him, but you know why it was crap, don't you? Because we weren't in it.
Yeah, oh, of course, yeah, that was it. There was there was those other two
There was
guys.
no banter.
No, we
No,
weren't in
no,
it.
It was just Dick here and...
Well, there was Dead and Dumber. Dead and Dumber, we should have called him.
Well, it was a delicate subject. So
It was a delicate
yeah,
subject,
we had
yeah.
to abstain.
So Tubes, with Shag to my left or right as you're looking, I think. Yeah. Nice one, Shag. Good
Yeah,
having you on the
cheers,
show,
Shag.
brother. Thanks for bringing your
Excellent.
guitar
Yeah, good
in,
one,
mate.
dude.
Yeah, and
Well done.
So there goes Shag and there goes the bongo, which brings us on to bass guitar number 4. And bass guitar number 4 is very, very rare. Look at it. Can you see it? No, you can't. Show 'em, Simon.
There you go.
This is a PRS bass guitar. You've had this best part of 30 odd years, haven't you?
Yeah, I think in 1990s I got this. I know they did 2 versions of this. They did this one, and they did actually the 5-string version.
Well, I can tell you now, Tubes, I have only ever seen 3 PRS bass guitars in my lifetime. Andy Frost.
And I've got to say, I only got this because of Andy, because Andy's got one of these with like a custom maple top on it.
And Andy was the first time we ever saw a PRS bass was Andy.
Yeah.
And we just couldn't believe it. We thought they only made guitars, 6-string guitars.
Yeah.
And so Simon rightly said he got this one. We saw one for sale in my mate Lou Moody's shop. Was it Music Warehouse?
Yeah,
wasn't
Music
it?
Warehouse, yeah.
And Lou had one for sale. It wasn't the same make as this. It was that other. Was it the same?
No,
make as this
I
one?
think it's the same as this one.
It's the same as this.
Yeah.
And we're talking, nearly. That was about 1991. It was 600 quid. God, I wish I had the money. It was a lot of money back then, but that was worth every penny, wasn't it?
Yeah, and this one came from America. Went to Florida, and I picked up a Yamaha bass, which we can show you at some point.
Yes, we're going to do another show, by the way. Cheaper guitars.
Because I wasn't expecting to get a PRS, and we were going back to LA just before we flew out, and I was ringing around all the music shops, and this certain music shop in LA said, "We've got a PRS." So literally on the way back to the airport, got in a taxi, or a cab as they call them over there, went in the shop, had a look, and I basically picked it up, and the guy said, "What do you think?" I said, "Well, I'll have it." And it was $1,200, which I think the exchange rate back then was probably about 600-700 quid. So yeah,
Bargain.
about the right price.
But still a lot of money back then.
It was a lot of money,
Christ.
but
So why are we showing you this? Well, one, it sounds absolutely unbelievable. You don't need to hear it, or you ain't going to plug them in, because a good quality instrument talks for itself. You don't need to hear the damn thing. It's weathered beautifully, hasn't it?
yeah, it's not done too bad since we did a gig and we hit my brother in the head with it. So
Well, we didn't.
well, I did. I swung around and almost knocked him out, didn't I? Well, you got the 3 pickups here, and I just mentioned we got one on the back as well, like a noise cancelling pickup. This one here, and then you've also, it's a bit like a guitar, because you've got
6-string guitar. We know it's a guitar,
Yeah.
all right.
I think they've done the same with the PRS actual 6 strings. Yeah, you got your volume there, you got your bass, your treble, active when that's down. But what you've also got,
Don't like an active switch.
which is quite interesting, you got 5 different pickup positions.
Now that is interesting, isn't it?
And if you look on the manual, it suggests like one's like a Fender Jazz, one's a Precision, one's something else. So you got like 5 different sounds.
Has it got a PRS position?
Well, I think the PRS position is the one in the middle, which I use all the time. It doesn't,
Yeah.
never ever use any other position on it.
It's an awesome bass guitar. Awesome. Now, what would we expect? I should imagine to buy one of these second hand now, you'd be looking in the double figures. No, I mean, not 1,000, but 2,000 plus maybe.
I've seen them on eBay, about $3,000. But
It's rare as rocking horse Scheisenpupsen.
But yeah, you got a mahogany body.
Let me show you, as you talk about it, let me show the patina on this thing, because you've got to get it at an angle. There you go, you can see it.
Yeah, you got mahogany body. I think you got rosewood fingerboard. You got Shaler tuners on the end there. Obviously, you got your PRS pickups,
I feel like I'm on QVC holding the watch.
and that's about it.
You see that up here, guys? You see that? See the grain on the wood, look, and it's just beautiful.
And there's loads of dings, because this has been gigged so much.
Yeah.
In our band Blade Chain, we had to get Dave Gladden. You know, good old Dave.
Oh, Dave. He
And-
made Nick Kershaw's guitars in the early days, by the way, in case you're wondering who Dave Gladden is.
And I'm lucky because he actually refretted the PRS for me. So he put really nice fret wire in it. So since Dave did that, lasted a treat.
It was a great love for you.
Yeah.
So I hope you're well, Dave. Listen to that. That's without plugging it in. It sounds beautiful. That is how you know a good guitar, by the tone of the wood. I mean, beautiful, beautiful. So there's for what I would class as quite high-end bass guitars. If you want us to pick one out of the four, we can't. I mean, I couldn't. What one would I rather have out of them all?
All of them, I reckon.
I couldn't lose my Stingray. If I had to get rid of them all and keep one, I'd always keep the Stingray just because it's been with me so long and it's a very personal thing to me.
Excellent.
Well, we hope we found this interesting. It's just us gabbing on about guitars, and they're not just because they're guitars we've got. You got to remember that we've been playing like many years and that and whatnots, and you know it's taken us a long time to find out what is worth having. Finally, what's worth saving up and buying or getting in debt for. The thing is, you don't get paid much as a musician, but the equipment is really expensive, so it's a difficult juggling act, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's definitely worth investing if you
to.
can a little bit more, because it's nice playing a decent instrument. Definitely, it obviously sounds really nice as well.
Next week, we will show you some really budget, cheap range guitars that will stand up to these, and by that I mean they will sound hardly any different to the untrained ear.
Well, I think the next week on a lot of them were, if you're starting to play bass guitar, that'll be a good idea. But if you're already playing bass guitar, you might be interested in some of those as well.
Well, like our buddy Shag, right, he started off with a Fender Squire. I chose it. We went in a shop, they had several. I picked it out, got the best one that was in there, and then set it up exactly the same as my Stingray, and it's beautiful. It plays lovely and whatnot. So that's what we're going to show you next week. We're going to show you some good quality but cheap guitars. Because when you're starting, you don't want to spend thousands on something like this because you might not get on with it, and you might not find the bass guitar as the instrument for you. You might decide next week you want to play drums.
I hope you liked our little selection of bass guitars. There may be one there for you. So, from this edition of Take the Fear Out of the Gear, it's goodbye from me, Mr. Chumley Warner.
And goodbye from me, Jason Bangers. Oh, and goodbye from Shag. Say goodbye, Shag. Goodbye, Shag.
Goodbye, Shag.